Good afternoon, beautiful people of the internet. My name's Johnny. That's our bus, Miles of Smiles, over there. Regan is not here, but I've got my buddy Nick helping out today. If you haven't seen any of our videos, welcome. We're currently in the process of building our bus, Miles of Smiles, and today we're doing a little bit of prep to get our subfloor in. So we've done a lot of work to get to this point. We've replaced our entire floor support system with new fresh steel, then coated our whole frame. So that's what we did most recently, so go ahead and check out the last video. But here today, Nick and I are here to do a little bit of rubberized undercoating on the marine plywood that we got. So real quick, what we're doing, we've got 3/4 inch marine plywood, which is ridiculously expensive. So these 6 sheets of plywood cost $500. Yes, you heard that right. 6 sheets of plywood cost $500. So the reason we're putting this rubberized undercoating, which I'll show you, rust-free rubberized brush-on undercoating. But the reason we're using this is just to give it a little extra layer of protection. Even though this is marine grade plywood, even though it costs a ton of money and is gonna do what it needs to do, over time it's still gonna have some effect. It's wood, right? So this is just gonna help with longevity and also with even some sound deadening. So because it's a rubberized coating, it'll help with some of the rocks and stuff hitting on the floor. And of course we're gonna have insulation in the floor, but this is gonna help even more. And there's parts of our bus where we're gonna put sheet metal underneath the plywood, not all of it like a standard Skoolie, but we're gonna put sheet metal under parts of it. And so we're gonna also put this on the sheet metal to help with rust prevention, but again, sound deadening. If you can imagine rocks and things hitting metal, it's a loud noise. So this is gonna help our wood last a little bit longer, just like Viagra. Oh wait, that just makes your wood hard, not last longer.
That was from experience.
I think that's how it works at least. But we're gonna get going here. So today is Friday. Oh, also.
Check this out, it's like peanut butter.
Oh, Jesus. So, Nick just opened this. I had no idea this is what the consistency of this is like. But this stuff is like peanut butter. I mean, this is super thick. So, like I said, it's rubberized, so that probably has part to do with it. But the Pour 15 we used in our previous video when we coated our whole frame, the Pour 15 is actually really liquidy, more liquidy than a lot of paints. So this is totally different. I had no idea what the consistency was like, but it's brush on. I got some rollers, so we're just gonna kind of slap it down and roll it around. But so that's what we're doing first today, and then we're also gonna take out the rest of our exhaust. So it seems kind of odd. Most people would say, well, why the heck would you do that? But if you've seen probably one of our first couple of videos, the back 6 or 7 feet of our exhaust had pretty much rusted off and it was hanging. So we chucked that and then found out that there's a rusted hole in our downpipe. So we're gonna have to get a new downpipe or make a new downpipe. And me, being a car guy, I want to stack. I want to stack exhaust. I want something different. I can't just do anything normal. Our bus is already tuned. It's got a performance chip in it, so we've got a little bit more power than usual. But the stack's gonna help even more with just giving us some added flow. Shortened exhaust with a bigger tube will hopefully also help lower exhaust gas temperatures, which is part of what will blow your bus up if those get too high. So, and when I say blow your bus up, I just mean do bad things to the motor. But we're gonna get cranking here. We already sprayed a bunch of PB blaster on all the nuts in the bus for the exhaust. So while we're waiting for that, we're gonna get playing with this rubber peanut butter here and get these pieces of plywood prepped for tomorrow. So let's go. Okay guys, so we got everything out there rubberized. Maybe I'll go show you real fast to show you kind of what this stuff looks like. This rubberized undercoating that we use, We've got all of our sheets laying out here and our metal over there. But this undercoating was like super thick, like we showed you. Ended up going on fine with the rollers, but you just like really had to work it and work it and work it. And unlike pour 15, it comes off of your fingers. So this is the pour 15 still from last Sunday when we undercoated the frame. And it's still all over my arms, that arm, this arm. And that stuff doesn't come off. You can't get it off with mineral spirits or anything, but this stuff you can. So it's a little different, and thankfully you can, because it's definitely a little messy and pretty tacky. But that's the piece of sheet metal that's going over the wheels. Got this guy. There's our mud flaps. That guy is going between the garage and the main part of the bus where it drops down. So we're just letting these dry out here in the sun for a little while, and we're doing this today so we don't have to do it tomorrow, because if we did it tomorrow, obviously we'd have to do it and then wait for them to dry, and clearly this stuff is way thicker than paint and it's gonna take a while to dry. So I'm really glad we came to do this today and didn't wait for tomorrow. Now it's time to get this exhaust off, and I think I'm gonna start it afterwards and see what it sounds like without the exhaust, because we're basically gonna probably chop it at the rusty hole in the downpipe, I think. We'll see. So it's kind of been running open downpipe, I guess you could say, but it's still sort of flowing through the rest of the exhaust. But we're chopping the flex pipe, we're taking out the huge mid pipe that has a muffler in it, and then basically gonna leave it at the downpipe. So we'll give you guys some revs afterwards. I know nobody cares about it, but there's gotta be some car guy out there that's watching this that'll at least appreciate this big old diesel. So I'm gonna get helping Nick get this big honking pipe out of here. So let's go.
Really,
look at that face.
Really?
Face of determination.
Yeah. The face of not trying to bash my knuckles.
Yeah.
No bloody knuckles today.
Anybody who has worked on anything automotive can understand when you're trying to undo a bolt and you punch something really hard because either the bolt breaks or it snaps loose or you slip off and you punch something, you cuss a lot, and then you move on and you keep going because the job's got to get done. So I'll put the camera down, find a good angle to work at here so I can get helping Nick. I feel bad as a bystander here. So time to set up the camera. All right, guys, so we've got pretty much all the exhaust bolts loosened up, being that this is a 20-year-old bus. And if you've watched any of our videos or seen any of our Instagram posts, you know this bus is coated with rust. So anytime you're working, even on not necessarily rusty stuff, just older nuts and bolts and things, they're gonna be stuck. They're gonna have they've had forces, you know, wiggling on them over the years, and now there's rust or other crap that's gotten in them. So one thing that's really good to use is PB blaster, penetrating blaster. So this is just penetrating catalyst that first thing when I got here, I sprayed on all the bolts before we did all the rubber stuff. So it's got some time to sit and set in. So this stuff works super, super well. I've used this on my car as well. And it just, if you try doing it without this versus with this can save you in a lot of situations. Then your next friend is Mr. Torch, Mr. Heat. PB blaster isn't doing it for you by itself. Heat is another good option. We haven't yet had to use it here. We were able to get most of them because we just created a long lever with a pipe. So I forgot my breaker bar, which is basically a long socket bar that gives you more leverage, because the longer lever arm you have, the more force and leverage you're going to get. So because we only were working with a socket wrench that's about this long, well, when you slide this on top, look at how long that makes that. So now when you're levering from over here, you've got way more leverage. You can do way more force with what you're working with your arms. Just wanted to kind of give you guys those quick tips on working on old mechanical stuff, if you guys are trying to undo rusty bolts and stuff on your Skoolie, I know it can be a pain in the butt. I know a lot of people probably aren't going to undo their exhaust or take their whole exhaust out, but there may be other rusty bolts and stuff that you got to undo. So these are some common things that you can do that are very easy to help you get those bolts out. So now that everything's kind of loose, all these pipes slide into each other, so we got to kind of shimmy them out of each other, which is going to be a little bit tough, being that, you know, again, there's rust and just years of these sitting together and probably a little bit of movement. Hopefully it comes out kind of easy. I don't anticipate it being super easy, but just may take a little force. Let's see how it goes. Look at that! There she blows, folks. That's one big pipe. It's a little bazooka cannon. Finds a hole. Ah, finds a hole. Wow, I don't even know what to say about this.
It's definitely not being held in by
Yeah.
a roadworthy wreck.
So, you can see the front here was really well secured and not rusted at all. It didn't just wiggle off at all. That didn't happen for sure. It was, wow. So that's part of the reason we're taking this whole thing off. Alright guys, great success getting the exhaust out. Ended up having to bust out the Sawzall there at the end. Only one major injury at the very end. Right as we were finishing cutting the Sawzall, Nick slipped on the tire and took a cross member to the shin. So I think that was Miles' way of saying F you for cutting my exhaust off. But pretty much gonna be done here for today, but I wanna start it up and see if it's louder and see what it sounds like. Now, when I'm talking about the down pipe, this is the pipe that comes right off the turbocharger. It's the first piece of the exhaust. So ours has a hole in it, so it's already had a hole in it, whatever. May not sound very different, but we took out the muffler, which is part of what reduces the noise, and then a bunch more pipe. So while it was leaking up here, most of the gas and noise was still getting directed that way. So now it's basically just dumping out right on the driver's seat. So we'll see if it's any louder. I don't know if it will be, but it'd be kind of cool, and it's probably gonna be like this until we get a stack in it. So let's see what it sounds like. Gonna let it run a little bit. It sounds a little bit deeper. I think if we rev it, or like if you get on it, it definitely sounds different. So we'll let it run a little bit, maybe give it a couple baby revs, and then get out of here. All right, sounds good. Sound better when he's got a stack on it. So we'll see you tomorrow for a huge, huge, huge day of finally putting a floor in this thing. See you then. And good morning to you all, and welcome to an awesome day on the bus. Super excited about today. Picked a few things up at Home Depot this morning. Picked up this big old tube of Loctite PL Premium. This is what we're gonna be putting underneath the plywood. Some more metal screws, a few drill bits, and a few more paintbrushes. We're gonna use some more of that rubberized coating we used yesterday to slobber under where the floor supports and are sandwiching between the wall, or sandwiching the plywood between the wall and the floor support. So we're just gonna slather that on the bottom and help coat that plywood even more down there. And also we're gonna use this to cover the seams of the plywood from underneath, just help cover those seams even more, avoid any water seepage into those seams. So Nick's gonna be here in a little bit with the table saw. I'm gonna get the tarp off. Obviously you guys know that. Got the dogs here today. Regan's gonna be coming later. She's been looking forward to this day for a long time. I mean, we both have, and even Nick and Caroline have. They're excited for us, and they've been working on it, so they know the struggle of crawling around in this thing. Yeah, I'm gonna get the tarp off and probably get a few other things together while we wait for Nick. We'll see you shortly. Nick's already trying to drink beer. Nick just got here. But time to load up the ply and get it out to the bus. Quick note, the rubberized stuff, it feels really good. It's dried overnight and it's just like, I mean, literally feels like you put a coat of like tar or rubber on it. It's kind of textured because we use like a 3/8 inch nap, but it feels good. It honestly feels pretty good. So see how it lasts. Okay, so got the plywood over here, but we're not going to touch it for a second yet. First, we're going to go ahead and seal up some of the seams. So like I said, we're going to put some sealant and some of that rubberizer underneath. So we want to put the sealant in the seams where the floor supports are sandwiching plywood between the wall and the floor support. So that way we're hopefully avoiding water coming up from underneath and seeping into our floor and whatnot. So got some expanding sealant and then rubberizer over the top later today. So sealant first. Obviously we're not cutting plywood right now, so we got a little ahead of ourselves. Decided we want to get the metal in place first. That's going to go under our sheet. So this metal here is going to flap down because where our main part of the bus is to where it steps down to the garage, it's like a transition that drops down, and there was a piece of sheet metal there because obviously as debris and things are coming, that's a forward facing surface. So we've rubberized the bottom of that sheet metal, and so what we're going to do is we're going to sandwich it with the plywood and then use that to help bend it down. Probably bang it with some hammers. Not going to be the most pretty process, but it'll do. But for right now we have to notch it to accommodate for going around some of the sideboards, so we're just going to keep doing that. I'll show you guys that, and then we'll start actually cutting some plywood. Regan made it. She's here to join us, and Caroline's gonna be here shortly. So the whole party's starting to show up. Got our first piece of plywood actually properly cut, and I think we're about to put it in. It's gonna be pretty cool. All right, we got ahead of ourselves yet again. We're just so excited to get the floor in, but we have to notch out some little, like just over 1 inch squares for where our upright posts go up our walls, because we're gonna have the subfloor go all the way to the wall, obviously, so we got to work around those guys, so we're going to cut them out quick. it out, we've got some floor. Things are going pretty well, just kind of figuring it out as we go, obviously. Things take time and we're figuring out the best methods for them and working with the tools we got. Had some more visitors come by, my cousin Mikey and his wife Mary, and some friends have come by, and so they're coming to hang out. I guess bus building's kind of fun, huh? We're gonna keep putting it in here. Hopefully get all the way to the front today, and that'd be awesome. These two pieces back here, I'll explain a little bit later, but we're leaving them unsecured for now, the very two back pieces, but obviously they're still in and still function, so this is so cool. This is just, I can't believe that this is happening, and it's a really good feeling. I know it doesn't seem very significant, but when you haven't had floors for 3 months, this is a big, big step. So super excited to be at this point. And hello! It is now Monday. Things kind of changed and we're all over the place this weekend. But we got a floor in. So last we saw you was Saturday. My cousin Mikey stopped by with his wife and some of his wife's family. They stopped and helped us put the rest of the floor in like you saw. And then yesterday I actually came here. It ended up raining yesterday afternoon, and so came here and did an oil change, and I just dropped that video on Monday, today, just uploaded as a surprise upload for this week. Wanted to put another video out and celebrate hitting 100 subscribers. So put a video out about doing an oil change on your Skoolie, so go check that out. If you've ever wondered what it's like to do an oil change on a Skoolie, or can I do an oil change on my Skoolie? And the answer is yes, you can, and you can save yourself some serious money doing it in the process. Well, I say serious money, but a couple $100 over time adds up. So I wanted to come back here and just show you guys kind of our final progress of Saturday and where we're at now, and then wrap this puppy up. So let me show you the floors and what we're still waiting to do and why we're still waiting to do it. But I'll show you the floors real quick. All right, so as you can see, walking in the entryway here, we've still left this piece open. The reason for that is we didn't end this last piece on a cross member. So a lot of the other pieces moving back, we overlapped two pieces onto a cross member, so they would each sit on a cross member and have an inch width to drill into. So here we didn't end it there because a sheet of plywood went perfectly all the way to the front here. So we decided that would be better. But then we realized that this seam then was not going to have support underneath it. So what we're going to do is we're going to build in a little bit of support with some probably 2x6s or maybe even a 6x6 just across the frame rails to give it something, because this will be where everybody's coming into the bus. But we just want to give it as much support as possible and hopefully avoid issues down the road. So that's what we're doing there. Now, most of these panels are secured. So we had to do some custom cutting, and what we realized was not all of our cross members that we put in were exactly spaced apart on each end. So sometimes the one side would be just a little bit off as far as the gap between cross members to the other side. So our back piece, we cut it a little wrong, and that was the first one we did, and we realized it after we cut it. So then every piece moving forward, we made sure to take measurements from both sides just to ensure that we didn't screw anything up. These two back panels are still yet untouched. These are just have tools sitting on top of them because the front of this panel actually falls short of a cross member, just short. So this corner here is basically floating, and because this is going to be below the bed, there's going to be some weight back here. We got to have, you know, our water tank's going to be in the very back, but still that corner, we don't want any piece that's not sitting on a cross member. So just going to use one piece of scrap metal to probably get one last bit welded in there eventually. But for now, it's just sitting as is with some tools on top of it to help weigh it down. And then all the way here in the back, hopefully you guys can see this. This piece was really hard to get in. As you can see, so far we've been going off of the width of the floor supports, which go to this metal beam. Well, this all drops down below this metal beam, and that piece needs to be wider, but you have to get it over or under this metal beam first. So our problem is with one solid piece, we couldn't do that. So what we decided to do is end the piece and overlap them on a frame rail. So we have one a little bit longer piece and then one shorter piece that's going to go here. So those are yet to be secured down. It's going to take a little bit more finagling, and we'll come back and do that sometime here soon, so we can get this all wrapped up and finished, because this one we'll have to fiberglass in. So over the wheels, we put a piece of 16 gauge sheet metal, so that just basically helps with anything coming up. And then we've also got some mud flaps we're putting back there. Those are right there. And we rubberized that all with that rubberized undercoating that we did all the plywood with, help with some sound deadening. So that should be nice and solid for that subfloor. That's going to be it for this episode, guys. We are so happy to have a floor, and I know it seems so simple to so many people. And many people who are built Skoolies or who haven't built Skoolies are probably like, what the heck, cool, you got a floor. That's great. But when you haven't had a floor for 3 months and you've done all this metal work and you've done all this work to get the frame to the way it is, it's a really big step when you get a floor back in here. And I can just walk around. Hopefully that doesn't mean we get messier. But either way, we're so excited. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. Hope you enjoyed watching this little episode. If you liked anything in the video, please give us a thumbs up. Throw a comment down below. Tell us your favorite part of the video. And if this is not the first video of ours you've watched, why are you not subscribed? Even this is the first video you've watched of ours, why are you not subscribed? Go ahead and subscribe. Support us. Like we said, we just hit 100 subscribers. Super excited about that, and just onwards and upwards. We're just so happy to have you all here and to be able to share this all with you. We feel very, very fortunate to be doing this, and then being able to do it around a lot of people we love and enjoy, and spend time with them doing it, and then also getting to interact with and meet some of you guys virtually, and hopefully someday in person. So subscribe, follow along on the journey, so you can be an OG to this journey and talk about one day when we put the floors in after not having floors for 3 months. Man, think about how that was. So it'll be a fun journey. Hop along. I'm getting out of here for now, but we will see you guys on the next one.